So what are your thoughts now about China supporting these peace talks between Russia and Ukraine?
It'll be interesting to see if it really moves the needle at all, Riley, because obviously one thing that we've seen is that it's been a bit stuck in the mud, and that the first phase of diplomacy didn't necessarily work, so we're sort of moving on to the second phase, where we've seen the President of the United States really pressuring Russia economically. China, at least symbolically backing peace talks, I'm not entirely sure if it will be a needle mover per se when it comes down to it, but it certainly couldn't ultimately hurt when you think about where things ultimately are at this point in time.
So that's interesting. But what about then the deadline that Trump gave to Putin for today, August 8th, to make progress toward this goal of peace with Ukraine or face sanctions? What's going on with that?
Well, yesterday he emphasized that the deadline was hard in the sense that it was up to Putin, and that he was very disappointed at it's sort of the same rhetoric that we've seen the president deploy when it comes to the situation, sort of putting the ball in Putin's court, saying, I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. All I want to see is the killing stop, but Putin won't stop. That's forcing my hand. I have to do this for the greater good to stop innocent lives from getting killed on both sides. That's sort of the perspective the president has. So if things don't come to an end today, it certainly seems as though this deadline will ultimately be put into place. And Riley, you and I have had conversations on your program multiple times about the cracking signs of the Russian economy. You know, the reports that 3 major banks have thought about getting a state-funded bailout. The car sales are plunging in the middle of Russia, and that the economy is being propped up by the war effort. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the president may have found a pain threshold for Russia that he will certainly not be afraid to use if he feels as though he can't get Putin to pay attention in any other way.
Speaking to your point earlier about really moving the needle, one thing that's really interesting that we haven't seen to date is having someone as high up as Steve Wyckoff meet directly with Vladimir Putin. What do you think about the significance of that move?
Well, we've seen Wyckoff really work magic early on in the Trump administration. Just think about it today, Riley. We're seeing a major peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and Wyckoff played a major role in that. He was actually in the capital of Azerbaijan earlier this administration. So when you think about things that Wyckoff gets involved with, he's someone who's able to deliver results for the president, for the American people. That's why he's the special envoy, and it's why he gets sent off on a lot of these, you know, more so like high-intense meetings in other countries. He's the president's get-it-done man. And whenever Wyckoff tends to be involved in something, things tend to go positively in the United States' favor. So seeing that he was with Putin once again this week can only mean good things for the United States, because after that specific meeting, Riley, then all these reports came forth saying that we could possibly be getting a Trump-Putin summit. But the bottom line is this, and I keep coming back to this specific point. The president's messaging is putting the ball in Putin's court. If Putin ends the war as it stands now, that's an out. He didn't ultimately accomplish what he wanted, which was engulfing the entirety of Ukraine, but the bottom line is he saves face and exits out of the war, likely with economic partnerships with the United States to some capacity. If he doesn't, he's going to face very severe economic consequences, and he will be getting everything that he asked for, because the bottom line is he has the opportunity to walk away, and if he chooses not to, he will be forcing the president's hand in a way that may not be very fun for him.
No, and really painful for everybody. To your earlier point, Daniel, the president doesn't want to have to take extra measures like putting sanctions on Russia's economy. He's trying to cooperate. He's trying to emphasize diplomacy, and that's just a point I want to pause on for a minute, because I haven't seen any president in my lifetime spend so much time and energy focused on diplomacy and ending bloodshed. This country has been embroiled in so many wars throughout my entire life, directly or indirectly, in Europe, in the Middle East, and beyond. So it's really refreshing to see an American president use his power as the most powerful person on the planet to push not for more bloodshed, but for peace. So I think that's really, it speaks volumes about the Trump administration and so many people in it, including Trump, Wyckoff, Hegseth, and others. So final thoughts for you. Do you really think there is a clear pathway to peace between Russia and Ukraine as of right now?
There's definitely a clear pathway, and the fact that we're close to a Trump-Putin summit could suggest that the end is, in fact, near, in the sense that the president suggested. But just to highlight that point that you made, we're seeing the president really bulldoze his way through any obstacle in his quest for peace in multiple different conflicts that I'm sure many American people didn't even really know were going on to some extent, as we're seeing today, Azerbaijan and Armenia. This has been going on for decades.